Hello and welcome back to another Splash of Paint. Now, some of you might remember our next guest from an earlier programme. It's a pleasure to welcome back classically trained SAA professional artist Warren Sealey, who'll be demonstrating how to paint a fruity still life in today's Try Your Hand At project.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Today we're going to look at a still life. Quite a simple setup here. It's a very simple arrangement. Just some oranges, just some fruit. Now, normally I'd have the setup in front of me, and I'd work from that. But we're just using a photograph for today, just for the ease of filming. So we get straight in. Again, straight in with brown paint. I always kind of draw out with the brown. Establishing the horizon line first. Now this is thinned out with a bit of terps in there, just thin it out so it flows. And just establish where I want my horizon line to be. Quite a low horizon line in this case. And my orange, somewhere like this. Not being too careful about it. My grapes are going to take up about that much room. Grape there, one there. I'm more figuring out how much space this is all going to take up rather than drawing it all out perfectly at this point. Just there's a grape roughly there and one there. And you've got one kind of dangling down here. Bit of shadow there. Okay, and a little stalk there, something like that. So, little shadow underneath all this. And lemon. So two very simple shapes, you know, it doesn't get much more simple than this. Just basic shapes, bit of shadow underneath them. And another grape there. That really suffices for the drawing. And I'll just indicate where some shadows go. So there's a bit of dark behind here. Up here. And we'll be adding some dark into this background for drama later on. So we just get an idea of where things are going at the moment. A bit of shadow there, a bit of dark here. Okay. Yeah, we'll darken this, and a bit of a fold there, a bit of shadow here. So let's just get some colours down. Let's just fill this up with colour. So I think where to start? That's the problem sometimes, knowing where to start. Let's go in with the brightest colours. Go in with that orange. Orange is the hottest colour on the palette, and we'll start with that. It's good to establish your extremes sometimes, your hottest, your darkest, your lightest, because it gives you a barrier to judge other things too. And I just realised that I haven't put the shadow on my orange. Well, I don't want my lemon either. The shadows on this. I've jumped ahead a bit. Okay. Bit of shadow coming down here. Bit of shadow on the lemon. Now, just put some darks in to separate those. Bit of black. And right underneath. The darkest part of any shadow is always right on the bottom. You know, if you look under a car, that's the darkest shadow you'll ever see. Under a car where absolutely no light gets to. So this is always the darkest part, right under here. Separate those two. Okay, and something like that. Oh, we've got that there, a bit of that going on there. Okay, so now I can get straight on with the colour. Let's do it. So these are just base colours which will be worked into as I go along. But as usual, I'm just going to get the whole thing covered. Now, it's sometimes a good thing to think about your brushwork. I mean, I could just scrub this on without much thought, but if we make kind of alternate brush strokes, you get a more painterly look and more life in the paint. It has an excitement to it. If you vary the brush strokes and, you know, like that, and get some life into the paint. You know, you don't always want to just scrub it on kind of, you know, willy-nilly. So we get that on there. That'll do. In fact, I may just carry on. I may just put the highlight on there. Why not? Let's get some highlight on. Get a light. Okay, let's move on to let's not get too ahead of myself. Let's move on to the lemon. Let's have a clean brush here. Okay. So this is just, these are pure cadmium colors, just cadmium orange that was. This is cadmium yellow pale or cadmium yellow light, whichever you have, just for the lemon. Just base colors, just filling this canvas with colors. And why not put the highlight on that as well? Why not? And we'll just scrub some green on for these grapes. So I'm using Viridian green, bit of ochre, and I think it needs some cad yellow as well. So how's that? That's not bad. Let's just scrub. See, I'm not worrying about individual grapes at this point. I'm just kind of scrubbing some paint on and just filling up the area. Okay, this one as well. Okay. Oh, and there's this, I nearly forgot a little lone grape here. Little lone guy. Okay, now we'll get some background on. Let's get some background on this. So it's just a grey, black and white, and maybe just cool it, put some blue in, just a touch of blue. Let's try that. A bit darker. Thinning out with the terps again so it flows nicely. There we go. Now I want to darken the corners here a little bit. Now this acts as a stopper. Darkening the edges like this was an old trick. It acts as a stopper. It stops the eye from wandering out of the painting. If you darken, like if you had this lighter here, the eye could just wander straight out, but a little dark on the edges acts as a stopper, stops the eye from roaming out of the picture. It's an old device used by lots of painters in the past. Now, real dark coming down here, under here, dark up here. So I'm not worrying if I'm going into, into these fruits and grapes. It's all going to be painted again. I'm just and I'll just get this pinkish grey, or a bit of Naples yellow in there. Not totally pinkish. Sienna, this is trial and error sometimes. Bit of burnt sienna. Now, that's pretty much a bit lighter on the top. This is pretty much my lay-in. And again, the whole thing's covered, and I will come back in the second half, and we'll refine this into, well, hopefully into a decent image. Let's see how we go. So that's pretty much my lay-in, really rough, fast lay-in, and later on in the program, we'll refine this, hopefully, into a decent-looking image. So I'll see you later.
Great work there, Warren. We look forward to seeing part 2 later on in today's programme. Okay, it's time for us to take a little break now, folks, but join us in part 3 when our resident Splash of Paint bookworm, Henry Malt, will be delving into the SAA Library to recommend another inspirational read. And Keith Fennick will be revealing a few simple tips and techniques to help break down the individual elements needed to paint your own watercolour masterpiece. I'll see you after the break.